is going to be a PowerPoint on focus groups. I know some of you may be thinking, well, we only have to do our coursework now, so what's the point of looking at this? Some of you will probably use focus groups for your research proposal, and this has got quite a lot of good stuff in it because you're going to need to give some justification of why you use it and what are the advantages and disadvantages of a focus group, that sort of stuff. So it is going to be relevant. I'll start by talking a bit about referencing because a couple of people have asked me, considering the situation, will you be penalised if you don't reference as much? How are you supposed to reference if you can't get the libraries and stuff like that? The main thing to remember is this: you're not going to be penalised because of the situation that we're all in, because it's obviously none of our faults. What I would also say is the decision just to make this coursework only was made yesterday. That came from the head of course. I'm going by this, that this is exactly what we're going to do. We haven't heard that anything from the University of Ulster saying that they want us to do anything else, but the practicalities would dictate that this is really the only thing that we can do. So just continue as mentioned in the email yesterday. We're just going on the basis of the coursework. Okay. Okay, so just a bit of a note on referencing. Now, obviously, you can't get to the college library. All public libraries are going to be shut as well. The majority of the references you're going to be using anyway probably would be coming from online. Now, in the research methods coursework, you obviously want to, when you're talking about the pros and cons of your method, things like the type of sample you used, all those sorts of things, there's lots of online references for those, okay? You might even find some journal references for those, but it's mainly going to be online stuff. As long as you keep on referencing, it's fine. I'm not going to expect that everybody's bought the Bryman book or anything like that. So if you only find websites which talk about, what is secondary data, what is primary data, what are the pros and cons of a focus group or an interview or something like that, just reference them. The way that we talked about in class, there's a way to reference them in text, and there's a way to obviously to reference them in the reference section as well. Because in the research methods, you're going to be picking your own topic. A lot of these topics won't be covered in textbooks anyway. What you're going to be looking at mainly will be, say, websites for government agencies, for charities, stuff like that. But also remember the exercise we did when we were looking for the stuff on Google Scholar. There's going to be a lot of journal articles and quite a lot of the topics. And by the way, I want everybody to okay their topic with me, just to make sure you're not picking a topic that doesn't really have any information on it. If you're using a journal article from online, you just reference it with the author's name, and in the reference section you reference it as if you actually had that journal article sitting in front of you in a paper copy. You don't need to reference it as being online. I will resend you the notes that I had on how to reference, just in case anybody's misplaced them or anything like that. So really, while I'm not expecting certain types of references, as in textbooks and those sorts of things like Bryman and those sort of related textbooks, you still want to get as many references in as possible. You're just going to have probably a few more just generally online ones than you previously actually would have had. So very basically and very simply, a focus group is just a discussion. It's a planned discussion, and if you were running a focus group, you're what's called the focus group moderator. So you plan the discussion, and the discussion is then directed towards what your area of interest is. So you say you're interested in the experiences of parents with children with autism, or midwifery services in Northern Ireland, which a lot of people seem to be interested in, or something like that. All it is a focused and a directed discussion amongst a group of people, focusing obviously on the area of the research interest. Okay, so some of the basics still on what a focus group is. So we're going to have our directed discussion involving a group of people. It says in the slide here approximately 7 to 10. 10's probably getting a bit high. Anything really, maybe I would start at 6 as well. 6 to 8, 9 I would say would be ideal for a focus group. The important thing and to remember for your research assignment, they have to have common characteristics relating to the discussion topic. I'll give you an example to illustrate what I mean by that. So we'll go back to the example I gave in the last slide. Say you're interested in, or your research topic is the experiences of parents dealing with children who have, say, autism or ADHD. The people you would need to speak to then in your focus group obviously are going to be parents of children who have one of those conditions. And that might sound obvious, but occasionally I will get a research methods assignment in, and the people who've been invited to the focus group just seem to be random. And I'm scratching my head and wondering, well, why are these people being invited? How would they have the knowledge? You may have a research topic where it's trickier to think, actually, who should I be speaking to? But if you're not inviting the right people to the focus group to get the data from them, you're going nowhere with your research. If you're not obviously entirely sure, if you've got a topic but you're not sure, well, who would I really need to speak to about this? Then just run it by me. Something else to remember, obviously, is for your research coursework, be realistic. Don't think, say, well, I'm going to speak to the First Minister, the Deputy First Minister, and all the heads of department up at Stormont, because it isn't going to happen. So you have to pick up a research topic which is practical and which is doable. Well, this slide is quite important. Firstly, you're going to use in the focus group, it's qualitative data. Okay, by now we should know the difference between qualitative and quantitative data as well. Okay, and qualitative data, we use qualitative methods when we're interested in feelings, perceptions, how people think about things, um, related issues. Okay, we're also specifically interested in the focus group in how people's attitudes and perceptions are developed in their interactions with other people. So a focus group is a type of interview, but it's not the same as a one-to-one interview. Part of the rationale, the reason for doing a focus group is to see how people's ideas and how their thoughts on any particular subject develop as they interact with other people. Because if you think back to sociology and our socialization, where do our ideas come from? How we understand our lives, how we understand the things going on around us. It's through interaction with other people. So the focus group is seen in that way to be quite realistic. So instead of asking somebody individually, for example, how do you feel about immigration to the UK? And they'll give you an answer. If you listen to people actually discussing that, the argument at least is that you're seeing something a bit more authentic. So if you're talking about one of the reasons to do a focus group, you have to include that, because it's not the same as a one-to-one interview. You're seeing people behaving realistically, as in they're interacting with each other and their ideas are being formed as they bounce them off each other, and their ideas change in relation to other people's ideas as well. So this slide may seem like another one of those and cows go moo sort of situations. I mean, you're not going to hold a focus group in the middle of the motorway. Um, However, when it comes to your research assignment, you have to tell me where you're going to hold the focus group, and you have to come up with an idea which is practical. So you can't say you're going to hold it in the city hall or something like that, but an environment which you think is conducive to an open discussion among people, so which is permissive, which is non-threatening as well. Okay, it's fine to say you would use rooms in the college that you would book. You would book a room on 2 separate days. You'd have 2 separate focus groups. Something like that would sort of make sense, but seems practical as well. Obviously, it's not practical at the moment because nobody can get into the college, but you know what I mean.